All right. Joining me now is Charlie Hurt, Fox and Friends weekend co-host. We welcome Oklahoma Senator Mr. James Lankford. And if that weren't enough, Sandra Smith, America Reports co-anchor.
Thanks for having us.
It is my pleasure. Thanks for all of you on a Friday afternoon. Charlie, what do you think of this poll? Maoist Mondami. These are amazing numbers to me. These are likely voters, reputable pollster. He's way out ahead.
Yeah, it does seem like it's probably going to be very difficult to close the gap between now and Election Day. I do think it's interesting that Mamdani still doesn't seem able to break the 50% mark, which is not a good situation under any circumstances. But, you know, I hate saying this, but it's going to be good for Republicans everywhere else. It's going to be really bad for New Yorkers, but it's going to be good for Republicans everywhere else.
We had Elise Stefanik on last night's show. She's going to be the savior of New York. She can be the Republican governor next year.
And she gets to run against him every single
That's what's going to happen. Sandra Smith, what do you think about this story? How are you? Nice of you to show up.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You know, I worry about New York City. I worry that there's this much support for a socialist candidate in America today. The policies that he has pitched, like, you know, historically speaking, cannot work and can destroy the city that we all love today. The numbers. Okay, why didn't Cuomo prepare for the debate? That's my question. I mean, would we be in a different spot if he had prepared and been able to respond to some of his policy pitches on that stage a little bit better? I don't know. Should Sliwa be out of the race? I don't know.
Sliwa beats him. Sliwa runs better than Cuomo head-to-head against Mondami.
Okay.
By 2 points. I mean, it's interesting. Sliwa won both debates. I get it. There's not enough Republicans to elect Curtis Sliwa. But I'm just saying, it is interesting. Senator Lankford, you got any Maoists in Oklahoma running for high office? I'm just curious.
Currently, they're all in New York City, apparently. We've shipped them out. The conservatives in New York have all come to Oklahoma and Florida, and you're getting to keep the rest on it. So this mayoral race reminds me again how much I love Oklahoma and how good it is to be there. And I would tell you, every once in a while, America elects some socialists like this, and it reminds us all what a bad idea that really is within a few years.
And it will be proven again. It's a good point. In this poll, by the way, it says 25%. These are likely voters. 25% of New Yorkers are going to move. Now, some of them may go to Oklahoma. There's about 8 million plus New Yorkers. What's 25%? It's 2 million, couple million people. How many people is that?
2 million people.
I mean, that's a lot of people. Now, somebody's around to vote for Mondami. So maybe those numbers don't add up.
Why doesn't Jamie Dimon care more? That's my question. He's kind of like, well, my job's to deal with what comes my way. Well, no, you could get a little bit more involved here. I mean, he's building this massive building. You know, the J.P. Morgan headquarters, you've seen it, it's down the street. His expectation is he's going to fill the building with workers. But those workers are going to have families. They're going to worry about crime. They're going to worry about a city under Mamdani, a socialist. I'm kind of surprised.
I'm just the messenger here. I didn't invent this.
You know, the history of communism is always the same. You know, you get these promises. They're false promises. They're all lies. But then it takes, you know, 10, 12 years for people, or sometimes longer, to learn the lessons that we've already learned. And in that period of time, for those workers, it's going to be devastating.
It's amazing. I mean, taxes will go up. Nobody's
and poor people are going to be hurt the worst.
Oh, yeah, by far.
Because they can't move out.
Right.
By far.
Right? They're the least mobile
it worked out great for Cuba.
You're great for Cuba. Actually, we're getting a good picture in Venezuela right now.
We are.
So working out great for Venezuela. Speaking of Cuba and Venezuela, Senator Lankford, will there ever be a government that operates again, or is the shutdown going on forever?
There will be a government that operates again.
You know, Christmas is coming.
I know. We need it before Thanksgiving, at least at this point, but it is frustrating right now because Democrats keep changing what they're looking for on this. They don't know where they are. Their whole goal was just to be able to protest against President Trump. Okay, they've shown their protest against President Trump. Now federal workers are not having a paycheck. I know some federal workers that both the husband and the wife both work for federal agencies, so neither of them are actually being paid now. You've got a situation where food stamps, SNAP, that's not going to come through as of next Saturday across the entire country. That's tens of millions of Americans that are in poverty. So this is really, really serious for a lot of folks. And there are folks that say, hey, my life's continuing on. I don't care what happens in the government.
So how does this end? How does this end?
It ends.
Where does it end?
Yeah, when a group of Democrats actually say, enough is enough, I'm hurting so many families. As we heard the Democratic whip say this week, hey, families have got to suffer so we can have leverage. Right. Until there's enough suffering that's out there that actually are screaming at Democrats saying, stop. Just stop. I understand you don't like President Trump. We hear you, but stop making my family suffer because of it.
Charlie, what are you hearing on this? And, I mean, my sense is it doesn't stop until Mr. Trump negotiates some kind of a deal. But he's gone off to Asia, as he must, and he has said he doesn't want to talk about health care spending or anything else until they reopen the government.
And I think that also, his taking that trip and some of the other things that he's gotten done during the shutdown is also a reminder that, well, there is at least somebody who is serious, tackling serious problems and getting things done. But I worry that if they don't come up with something by sometime early next week, that we really might be looking at after Thanksgiving. And then if it goes to past Thanksgiving, who knows, what's gonna change? And maybe the election changes things, because I do think that the election has a lot to do with why Democrats are happy to have this go on. Because of course in Virginia, federal workers in Northern Virginia, if they're upset, and those are mostly Democrats, if they're upset, I think that probably helps Democrats in Virginia.
Apparently, Congress isn't worried about their approval rating because it really can't get any lower.
Well,
and the lack of show of negotiation.
They're worse than journalists, I think, their approval rating.
There.
I will say this, empirically, I only look at the facts. Empirically, the stock market likes the shutdown. And I will say this also. We had a poll from Issues and Insights, the TIP poll. It's a very good poll. Actually, I'm sorry, take that back. It's the Rasmussen poll. 51% of respondents want the government shutdown to continue to shut down.
Oh, I hear it all the time.
51%.
I hear it all the time.
That's why, Sandra, I think it's bullshit. Stocks have done great during the shutdown. What do you make of that?
A record high after record high after record high.
47,000 on the Dow.
That's nuts. It's nuts. I think there's some hopes of some rate cuts too coming.
Rate cuts,
right?
I got
that
it.
might spur some more
Good
growth.
profits, business boom, tax cuts.
But yeah, sometimes gridlock is good for Wall Street, and that could certainly be the case. But there's going to be some real hard evidence of economic pain the longer this goes on.
There is. You're talking about restaurants and businesses that are around federal buildings that they're suffering as private businesses, individuals that have stopped spending because, hey, they're not sure they're going to get a paycheck on that. You have several million people in the economy that are starting to slow down.
Do you want to make a deal, Mr. Langford?
Oh, I know.
Someone's got to make a deal someplace,
I actually want our Democrats.
You're a leader. You're in the leadership.
I am, but I would say if the last 13 times we've been at this moment, we've had a clean continuing resolution. Everybody's just said, let's keep going.
What about breaking the filibuster? What about breaking the filibuster?
It's a terrible idea. Terrible idea. At the end of the day, we've got to have one spot in our nation, that's the United States Senate, where both sides have got to talk like grown-ups and be able to figure things out. If you trash that and throw that away, I can assure you Democrats will use that to take away right-to-work states. They'll do all kinds of stuff in the days ahead to try.
I didn't like it much either myself, but I just thought I'd toss it out there so you could slam it down. Yeah. Sandra Smith, you like banquet ballrooms, don't you? I mean, you'll dance the night
This is the priority of the president, right? This is his only priority, right?
This is great.
The smell of money, I think he said. It is, the hypocrisy on this issue is quite stunning. I mean, we rolled tape on the mainstream legacy media, during the Obama years. They were celebrating the changes to the White House.
I know. Well, listen, we went through the list. Thomas Jefferson, Andrew Jackson, Harry Truman's balcony, Jackie Kennedy, Richard Nixon. Presidents have done this all the time. Why is this such a big deal? Why are Democrats losing their minds over this?
Harry Truman gutted the White House. And rebuilt the entire inside. It is absurd, but it will be interesting to see if, and I already know the answer to this, when a Democrat does finally make it back into the White House, will they use the new ballroom? I'm suspecting that they'll be happy to use it.
Of course they will. I'm pleased to be able to see Democrats looking back on American history longingly and liking it, because lately Democrats have looked back on American history and hate it. So for them to look at anything historical and go, that's a good idea, great. Welcome to enjoying America.
It's a good point. It just seems to me, it just all boils down. The Democratic Party has one policy position and only one policy position.
Hate Trump.
We hate Donald Trump. And I can't believe, Senator Lankford, that is not a winning message. That is not a winning strategy. That is not a winning future. I mean, we'll see about these elections coming up in New Jersey and Virginia, for example. But that just everything Trump does, the leadership seems to hate, and they bring out the socialists. And that's why I say the party is rotting from the inside. It's not just Mamdani, although he's pretty bad. The whole story there, they have nothing to offer.
Yeah, President Trump's focus is secure border, lowering crime, getting rid of drugs on our street and to our families, growing economy, engagement internationally. That sounds like a pretty American focus there, and they seem to say everything about that I hate.
Sandra, how are you in the gambling casinos in the NBA?
This is, talk about stunning.
This is
has
a
been
pretty ugly story.
Stunning story. This morning I was watching the moment in the game where like the player threw the game. I mean, this is getting really crazy, and I didn't see this one coming. I mean, this is like a script for a Hollywood movie, really.
Does this mean there's going to be a backlash against legalized gambling? Some people, I've seen some people in the Senate stand up and talk about that. A lot of people think, no, people like to gamble, we're going to have more gambling. Yeah. We're going to have more gambling, then they're going to wind up fixing basketball games. Next thing you know, they're going to fix hockey games and football games, blah, blah, blah. I mean, how's this playing?
You know, it's funny. The question that I have is, you're talking about these NBA players who make tens of millions of dollars.
Yep.
Yeah. What was the incentive for them to rig? Is it the thrill of the game to simply rig it, or is there something else here? I think there's a lot more here that we don't know about that we're going to find out about.
It's going to be bigger.
It's going to be way bigger because if you're making $10, $15 million a year, and then you're going to throw all that away to rig one game for $200,000, like whatever cut you're getting of that does not equal the amount of money you made, like
paying off,
trying to win.
Losing bets, though.
Yeah.
So,
exactly. No, that's what it is.
Yeah.
This is right out of Goodfellas.
Yeah.
This is right
between this and
President Trump, by the way, his favorite. He often said his favorite movie was The Godfather #2, Goodfellas. Yeah. Just saying. That has nothing to do with anything, but I'm just saying.
But I do have to say that between this story and the story about the theft at the Louvre, we've got some really great action.
I love that story.
Isn't that a great story?
That is a Cary Grant remake.
Yeah, it's going to be
the cat burglar. Remember in Monte Carlo?
Yeah.
That is just. I love that story.
Trump has saved Hollywood, and now we've got some great movies coming up.
I do want to make one thing perfectly clear: the Oklahoma City Thunder are NBA champions, and they actually won it. Okay, nothing was thrown to be able to do that.
No funny business there.
No funny business there. They earned it.
It's early in the game. Sandra, very serious point. Trump putting sanctions on Russian oil.
Huge.
And by the way, these are the tough sanctions. I spoke to people inside the Treasury Department who run this. Anybody, any country, any company, any insurance company, any bank that is involved in the purchase or the indemnifying of Russian oil will be out of the dollar system, okay? They'll be out of the SWIFT payments ledger. They'll be out of the New York
So you think this is 100% enforceable?
100%. We don't now. We will see, and I'm going to ask you whether you think it will be enforced. But on paper, this is the tough one. This is the secondary sanction.
This is huge.
Argument.
These are the two biggest producers out of Russia. India was just crunching the numbers with one of my energy guys a couple days ago, or sorry, this was yesterday. This happened Wednesday night, right? So Wednesday night, about 40% of India's imports are Russian oil, right? I don't know. Who's gonna make up that loss?
We could. United States could. I'm just saying.
We could.
Yeah, and also, not to say this isn't a fantastic thing in the right direction for the country to move in on Vladimir Putin and the Moscow economy to cripple it even further. But what does that do to our prices, which we have loved seeing lower, around $60 a barrel? Some are saying this is going to add another $5 to our barrel, but we'll see. No,
we're doing 13.6 million barrels a day, which I believe is an all-time high. They can do more, but the Saudis are turning the spigots on.
Okay.
And they like what we're doing. Senator, it's an interesting thing. President Trump will be going to China. China, there's a study going on about the China trade deal that I participated in, the phase 1 deal in the first term. China broke every promise in that deal. And I don't know that we could ever listen to China's promises. We're going to talk to Energy Secretary Chris Wright in a moment about the blackmail. for the rare earths. But what do you think of the China? We have to be strong against China. We can't let China bull us around. You know, that story in the front page of the Wall Street Journal said Xi is really going to be tough and he knows this and knows that. We got to stand up for that. We cannot trust the Chinese.
We cannot trust the Chinese. This is the ultimate trust and verify, but also to be able to put pressure on the Chinese on it. They're not buying the soybeans. They're not buying the sorghum. They're not opening up for the rare earth minerals. They had to apply tremendous amount of pressure to be able to open up all the magnets. But we have a vulnerability in China. China knows it. And so we have to fix that vulnerability long term. We can't have a communist nation controlling our energy supply with rare earths. We can't control our pharmaceuticals, which currently they do. If another nation that is a communist nation has the ability to be able to control how much medicine we get, the type of medicine that we get, and what we do on energy, we are exposed. And we're exposed right now. That's one of the primary things President Trump's been focused on is how do we not make sure we're beholden to
We're going to get an update from Chris Wright. Charlie Hurt, you got to take us out. Who wins in New Jersey?
Oh, I think that Chitterelli has a real shot at winning.
Republican.
I think that, and I think that in Virginia it's going to be tougher. But I think Jason Miyares has a very, very good shot at beating Jay Jones. But you know, in this environment, who knows? I think that we could all end up being very surprised. But the fact that we're even talking about races into Democrat states, where you have a Republican in the White House, usually both New Jersey and Virginia go against whoever's in power. But not only do you have a Republican in the White House, you have Donald Trump in the White House. And I think that it's extraordinary that we're even talking about this. And if
don't you think it sends an extraordinary? I mean, we have Ms. Searles coming on. Ms. Searles coming on the show later on. If you had two Republican, we even won, but if you had two Republican victories in the off-year elections in New Jersey, that message would mean what?
That's a death knell for the midterms next year. And it goes back to what you said earlier. It's because the only thing that Democrats, only issue they have is Donald Trump. And what happens when Donald Trump is gone? What are they going to talk about then? And it got so bad during the debate between Jason Miyares and Jay Jones that after Jay Jones invoked Trump over 35 times, Miyares finally looked at him and said, "You need to run for Congress, man. This has nothing to do with the job."
You could look around as Trump here.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. You're all wonderful. Terrific stuff, Senator James.